Hey, baddies.
What's up, guys?
We are on episode 14 today. We are talking about being confident enough, say that 3 times fast, being confident enough to not care about what others are doing and what you're not doing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, don't be out here comparing yourself to what other people are doing, what you're not doing that's not exactly the same. Because we're all on different paths. We all have different goals. We all came from different places. We actually took some notes and did some diving and pulled some different sources for this episode because we just felt like this episode could get chaotic. It could get all over the place. We actually recorded it last night, and that's exactly what happened. Is we strayed into
500 different things.
Dude, because having confidence, there are so many subcategories to that. And when you talk about also having the confidence to not compare yourself to others, it definitely spirals in a million different directions. And we felt like that was kind of happening last night. We recorded for 45 minutes and we were like, that was messy. Mm-hmm. So we decided to collect our thoughts this morning. So we will be looking at our notes today. And that's also why it's so bright, is because we're not doing it at night. We started recording at 10 o'clock last night, and by the time we were done recording, my eyeballs were damn near closed.
So good morning, everyone.
Good morning, America. That's trademarked, so not actually good morning, America. Good morning,
Is
Nebraska.
Is it really trademarked?
I would assume so. There's a whole morning show, Good Morning America. So I would assume they trademarked it. If they didn't, that's dumb. But can you trademark? Anyways. Okay.
This is why I got chaotic last night.
Okay. First things first. We have in our notes just little things, so I'm going to say the thing and then we're just going to kind of start jibber-jabbering from there. Confidence isn't believing you're the best. It's no longer measuring yourself against everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Comparison shifts your focus from your own path to someone else's highlight reel. It makes you ask, what are they building instead of what am I building? And we should flip that, because comparing ourselves to other people literally diminishes our own confidence.
Yeah.
Right? So having the confidence to believe in yourself and your own goals and your own power, essentially, is going to kind of defeat the comparison that happens when you're looking at other people's highlight reels. I love that. I love that phrase. So being able to look at your own story and your own highlight reels from the backside and still cheer yourself on. Yeah. Because looking at somebody else's highlight reel, you don't know the behind the scenes of that. That's where I feel like it gets really hard to compare yourself to other people, is because you don't know their backstory. Mm-hmm. You only know your backstory that got you to the highlight reel instead of just seeing a highlight reel. Do you want to touch on that before?
Yeah, I just genuinely feel like, everybody is on their own journey. So comparing yourself to anyone is unfair to you and it's unfair to them, because everybody is so uniquely different in where they are in life and where they're going in life that you can't really compare those two things. It's like you're comparing blue to yellow. There's no comparison. They're very, very different things.
And honestly, if those two things come together, they make something completely different on top of it.
Right.
So you don't automatically judge somebody because their highlight reel looks different than yours. You know what I mean? I know that in here somewhere along the lines we start to talk about social media and stuff like that. So I'm going to use the analogy of social media. As a business owner, I look at other beauty studios, other entrepreneurs, other lash artists. I look at their Instagrams and the way that they're organized and they're so cohesive and they're so beautiful. I'm like, oh my God, I wish my Instagram looked like that. But that's just not me. You know what I mean? And if that's for you, totally cool. But who am I to look at someone else's social media and say that it's better than mine when mine is very me? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just because theirs is more cohesive and all the colors match doesn't mean that it's performing better than mine, it doesn't mean that it is better than mine. And I have no idea what it takes for them to do all of that to their social media page. And if they like that, they like that. That ain't no skin off my back. And that doesn't, at the end of the day, how their social media page looks does not affect my social media page from operating at all. And what I think about their social media page does not affect my social media page.
Right.
It affects me, the person operating the social media page, but like, I'm either going to do something positive with that, or I'm going to do something negative with that.
And I think that's a huge point, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is the fact that comparing yourself to others doesn't change who you are. So what's the point of it anyway?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I'm going to skip over the social media stuff because I feel like that'll just kind of tie in here as we keep going. Or we can touch with it on the end just to see if we went over all of that stuff. But comparison is a form of abandoning yourself. Every minute spent living through someone else's life is a minute stolen from your own. And we talked a little bit about this last night. Like, the woman in the gym who was constantly like looking at your treadmill and looking at how many calories you burned or how long you'd been on the treadmill. It's like, girl, all that time you spent hopping off of yours to pretend to do like a lap to look at somebody else's thing.
Yeah.
You could have been on the treadmill the whole time, you know? And you're taking time away from your own progression. You are taking time away from your own success and things that you could be doing, right? So don't constantly be taking your time, your precious energy, and pouring it into looking at other people's stuff, because that's literally just going to continue to diminish your own progress, your own success.
100%.
Jelly Roll has a line that the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror for a reason. And I feel like that can hit in a ton of different fucking things, because I used an analogy last night where I was like, if you're constantly looking in the rear view mirror or turning around to look at the person behind you while you're driving, you're not paying attention to where you're going. You are not paying attention to the cars in front of you that you have to like kind of like swerve around. You got to brake every now and then. You got to pay attention to what's in front of you and stay focused on your lane and your vehicle. If you're focused on all the other shit on the road in different lanes and different cars, your car is going to have a spin out. You're going to get in an accident. Like, you have to stay focused on your present moment.
And it really is a form of like self-abandonment, because, you know, you could be staying true to yourself and focusing all of that time and energy and efficiency on yourself, but instead you're giving up on yourself before you even start in order to bring your attention to somebody else and somebody else's success.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that your confidence definitely also you start to have a better sense of self-love, self-worth, self-confidence when you are no longer ranking yourself amongst other people.
Yeah.
You cannot put a 5-star on another person and then put a 4-star on you. You cannot, because first of all, who are you to give that person 5 stars? Who are you to give that person 3 stars? Because let's flip it. Maybe you're comparing yourself to other people to make yourself feel better and dog down other people. Who are you to give that person 2 stars because they weigh more than you and they're at the same gym as you? You have no idea when they started or where they started at.
Right. They could have started at 500 pounds and now they're down to like, 420. And they're not allowed to celebrate the fact that they lost almost an entire person off of their body.
Literally.
Like, everybody is on their complete own journey and everyone has the right and, they should celebrate their own individual wins, because ultimately, like I said, we're all on different journeys and different playing fields, and we all have different lessons to learn in this life. And when you start abandoning yourself in order to look at other people's story, you negate your own, right? And I don't think that anyone's story is going to be, like I said, exactly the same, nor do I think anything should be exactly the same, right? Like, look at a library. All of the books tell a different story. If you had a library full of books that are all the exact same fucking story, how boring and dumb would that be? You know what I mean? Like, you want the dichotomy of having everybody have this individualism and this individual self, So lean into that. Know that you are on your own path, and that's okay, and that's exactly where you're supposed to be.
Well, just even like knowing that there are people with a similar story to you, but there are so many variables and so many things that make your story different, right? Because even when you look at somebody and you're like, I'm so inspired by their story because we have such similarities, or you're friends with someone because you both have so many similarities, the differences are also what bring you guys together and help make you better. You know, like if all of my friends and I were the exact same, I probably wouldn't like them that much. Because, like, I have to be the one, like, I have control issues. So if all my other friends also had control issues, we would never get fucking anywhere. Okay? Where my friends, all of the things that bring us together in friendship, the fact that they can, our differences being that they can, like, sit down and shut the hell up when I need to take control, we can move forward. Okay? And then when I'm like, fuck, I've hit a wall, I don't know where to go from here, I can branch out to my friends who have different experiences than I do, right? We're trying to not give you guys an 1.5 hour long podcast episode every single time we record, so we're just going to keep on trucking because we are certified yappers.
Yes.
So we could talk about one 3-lined bullet point for...
Which is funny because if you've been tattooed by me, you know that I don't fucking talk when I tattoo, but I will talk your ear off when I'm not tattooing.
When they're doing paperwork or you're doing their stencil, you are yapping.
Oh yeah, I'm
girl.
like da, 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 da.
Let's see. You don't suffer because someone else is succeeding. You suffer because you've attached your worth to being ahead. Ooh, I feel like that hits both of us real hard. That's why this topic was so hard for us, is because while we're confident and we don't really compare ourselves to other people in like a negative sense, we're definitely never looking at people and trying to shove them below us. And we are also the first people to show up and clap for you.
100%.
Give you your wins. Be so proud of you. We also struggle with like putting ourselves below other people. And we compete with our inside self so much that hits so hard because constantly we are always like, what's next? What's next? What are we doing next? We are halfway, not even halfway, maybe like a third of the way through this business remodel, rebrand. Through the remodel. The rebrand is like, we have to remodel before we can start the rebrand, you know? So anyways, we are already talking about our next big goals. One of them literally can't happen for 10 months and we're still like already like
we're already
trying
online
to get all the pieces
planning, doing all the finances.
Dude, so we are continuously trying to one up ourselves. And I love the quote that like your only competition should be who you were yesterday. You know, I love the TikTok sound and the Instagram sound for reels that has been going around where it's like, and your next opponent is you. I love that because you should be literally just trying to do better than who you were yesterday, but we take that to an extreme.
Yes.
We take that a little far. So, so you're not suffering because someone else is succeeding. You're suffering because you are obsessed with the idea of being ahead. So yeah, it's like as soon as we feel like we are in second place and not first place, it's downhill.
Well, and I feel like that shows that the majority of your suffering is literally problems that you create inside your own head. Because when you are so obsessed with being ahead of the game, you're not even seeing how far in the race you are. You're not celebrating the wins on where you're at right now if you're so focused on, oh, so-and-so's ahead of me, so-and-so's doing better than me, keeping up with the Joneses.
But here's the fucking deal, bitch. If you're so far ahead and you're coming full circle, you're like, oh my God, these people are ahead of me. You're about to lap them. They're not actually ahead of you. You are a whole lap ahead. Are they physically currently ahead of you? Yeah. But you are about to lap motherfuckers. And they don't even know it. They think, J. Cole has a line where he literally says something about, he says a lot of bad words that I don't want to say, but he says something about like, they think they're in front of me, but I'm about to lap them, but I'm going to let them think that they're in front of me. You know what I mean? And even if somebody is ahead of you, say that they actually truly have gained up some knowledge or success, or they've got a bigger, better house or car or whatever the deal is where they are ahead of you. Can't you learn from them? Because here's the thing, as much as like, don't compare yourself, don't compare yourself. You don't want to be the best person in the room either. Because then there's nothing to gain from the other people in the room. If you are the richest, the smartest, the fastest, the most talented, what is there to gain from the other people in the room? You have outgrown your cage, and it's time to go find a new one so that you can continue to succeed. I was trying to say succeed, but then success came out because I was trying to say excel as well. So anyways, you want to keep learning. You don't want to hit this cap of like, I'm the best, and then hold that title.
Well, yeah, because then at that point, how are you going to succeed even further? You know what I mean? Because once you're at this time, but that's the thing though. There is no top, right? There is no whatever. Is like the further you go, and the more you're chasing this idea of, oh, when I get there, when I get to where this person is, then I'll be happy, then I'll be this. That is always going to continuously move. So you're chasing something that you will never get to. Where you need to get to is to be able to sit in this mindfulness that where you're at is good enough. You may have goals, and that's great. That's awesome. Everybody should have goals. Everyone should be striving for your goals. But you need to give yourself the win to see how far you have come and to appreciate where you are now.
100%. Being able to... It's like... When I went through my divorce, I heard a lot from people about like different podcasts that I was listening to, different books I was reading when I was in therapy, all of these things in regards to being comfortable with being at peace with your own energy, being at peace with your own company. If you can't sit by yourself, sit alone with yourself and just read a book and drink tea at night and be happy with where you're at. You know, and I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand with having enough confidence to be able to do that. I feel like somebody who is, and I'm an extrovert, so for me to say this next line is crazy. For somebody to have to constantly be running out of the house, running away from their own energy, their own self, you don't want to sit with your thoughts and your own ideas. You don't want to journal your goals down or where you're at so bad that you have to constantly be out of the house. You constantly have people over. You constantly are going to somebody's house. You need to sit with yourself. And we kind of touched a little bit on the things last night where like, if you don't know where you even want to go, then you don't know how to start. You don't know where you are. You don't know. It's a big jumbled, confused mess. Sit with it. Journal about it. Drop it into ChatGPT. Phone a friend or a family member who's not going to laugh at you or give you no bullshit, you know? Sit with yourself.
Yeah. Or even if you're someone like me who's the opposite end of the spectrum. So I'm definitely an introvert, and I find it was a struggle for me to be around other people who were more successful than me because I wanted to recluse into my safety. Because if I'm not around those people, then I don't feel insecure. If I'm not around those people, then I feel safe with myself because, yeah, maybe I can like self-reflect and know where I'm at and where I want to go. But the second that I'm around people who are doing better than me, then all of a sudden I feel insecure. I feel this big, right? But in reality, that's the, you know, just like how you said, for someone who's extroverted needs to sit with himself. If you're introverted and you struggle with that, you need to be around these people. You need to be around these people to not only learn from them and to gain the knowledge of how to better get to where you want to go, but to understand completely that these people who are successful were right where you were. Right? That everybody has a starting point, and the point is you're starting. It doesn't matter how old you are when you want to go back to school. It doesn't matter how old you are when you were buying that first house. What matters is that you're actually doing it. You're taking those steps. You're taking those leaps. And being around other people, you start to realize that the more successful people are, I feel like the more down to earth they are too. Because and the more willing they are to talk about how they get to.
Say, we just talked about that part last night when we were getting out of the shower and like getting ready for the evening.
Yeah, because the more successful people are, I feel like that's when they're more willing to talk about how they got to where they are and to give you tips and tricks, right?
Because, and not be gatekeepy.
Yeah, so translating that into kind of the tattoo community, right? I went to the tattoo convention, and there was this very famous artist from Italy. And I was asking him, like, hey, what machine do you use? You know, what voltage do you use it at? What ink do you use? And he literally took the time out of his tattoo session to be like, hey, how's it going? My name is so-and-so. Here's what I do. Here's my procedure. Here's et cetera, et cetera. Versus I have met people who are not world famous, who are very gatekeepy about their craft and about what they use.
God,
and
even
everything.
just about stupid shit like... You were trying, when you were moving here, you were trying to get information about, like, do you guys use Stericycle down here to, like, dispose of needles or not? And even that, people were like, it'll be in your application. And you were like...
I was like, what the fuck? Like,
it's
you can't even tell me...
It's the brand where we dispose or use needles. Like,
yeah,
why
it's
is
literally
this...
a company, a biohazard company. Like, what the fuck? But it goes into the insecurity I feel like people have, that they feel as though that they are in competition with other people because they don't want their neighbor to get ahead because they want to get ahead. But people who are already successful know deep within themselves that your only competition is the person looking at you in the mirror. So keep that in mind, because, you know, that's the other thing too, is you don't want to surround yourself with people who are also this level of insecure, because they're going to be the ones that are holding you back. Even if they seem as though they are friendly or whatever, if they're not willing to talk to you about their successes, give you tips, help you elevate yourself, they're snakes in the grass.
Well, and there's a chance that they don't even know how to do that for themselves.
True.
They have no idea what they're even talking about. They have no idea. The people who are so willing to share that information with you are, one, confident in who they are, confident where they're at, and confident what the hell they're talking about. I have had so many friends that I have trained to do lashes. I have trained to do permanent jewelry. I have had them come back to me and ask me how to open a business. I have had random girlfriends of mine reach out to me on how to start a business, how to get going, how to open their salon. And I feel like those people, inherently, our relationship continues to get closer because we can bounce ideas off of each other. The girls who I feel like I trained, and then there was some weird, because in our industries it can get very catty, it can get very competitive, and then especially when you're looking at an industry where it's all women, there are certain people who look at it as we are competition because it's oversaturated and there's too many artists and da-da-da-da. You're going to get those people that they don't want to share with you. They don't want to ask your opinion because they're too scared to let you know their next move. And don't get me wrong, I'm not out here posting about what my next great idea is, because that's for me to figure out, and I don't need everybody involved in the hurdles that I'm going to jump through. But that doesn't mean that when I know that there's somebody out there who has done what I'm doing, I ain't got no problem asking. We were just talking about this the other day too, about how people who, when you're talking to them and you're like, you know what I mean? And they're like, yeah. And then you keep talking and then you realize they have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
Like,
I have no problem being like, no, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
What are you... Because I want to understand so that we can have a good conversation. I would also like to leave here learning something.
Yeah.
I love to learn.
And know that people, when they see that, they respect and view that as such a positive trait that you have the ability to say, I don't know what that means. Would you explain it to me more? Because not a lot of people have that. A lot of people are afraid of feeling stupid, so they don't want to ask questions, but then it puts you in this weird position where you never learn, right? Because I have been complimented, ironically, so much when I have asked people what words they're using me. Like, if someone uses a big word that I'm not familiar with, I'm like, I'm sorry, what was that word? Can you tell me what that is? I don't know what that means. And, like, I have been complimented by people who are like, oh my gosh, that's so cool that you're able to ask, what does that mean? Because so many people are afraid to say that they don't know something, right? But, like, again, that shows that you are your own worst enemy, because you're letting that insecurity prevent you from learning, and then that's going to prevent you ultimately from going forward. So really, you just have to have that confidence and that ability to know that it's okay not to know everything. You are not born with the knowledge of the universe inside of you. You are put on this planet to learn, and the more you learn and the more you explore, the further you're going to go in life.
Like, you did not give an eyeball for all the knowledge of the universe. You are not Odin. Sit down, bitch. Ask the questions, okay? I just have to show everybody what I'm looking at under the chair. Because look at our precious little baby. Oh, he's such a pretty boy. He just
Insert cat puking emoji.
Moving his little arm up over his face. He's just so fucking cute. Anyways, I'm literally getting teary-eyed because he's so fucking cute.
It's a cat, bro.
He's so fucking cute. Look at him. Look at him. He's upside down now with his paws in the air. He's so fucking cute.
Anywho. God, you're so weird.
I'm literally getting teary-eyed. He's so fucking cute. I love you. Okay. Anyways.
Oh my god, dude.
Most insecurity isn't a lack of ability. It's an addiction to external validation. Ooh, how do you feel about that?
I feel personally victimized by Regina George.
The ego, your ego constantly asks, how do I compare? Growth asks, who am I becoming?
Mm-hmm.
Peace will then come when your standards become internal instead of social.
Yeah, so I feel called out with
should.
that because I couldn't agree more, right? Because I'm someone who's constantly seeking external validation, and I genuinely feel as though that's so true because, like, you know, when you're constantly looking to other social situations, to other people for that validation, you are giving them the power to determine your worth, as opposed to bringing that in from within inside of you and saying, no, this is what I'm worth, this is what I'm doing well. When you give that power to other people, it's incredibly dangerous, right?
Well, and there's another quote in here that I'll just throw in because this totally goes hand in hand with it. Confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself consistently.
Oh, dude, 100%
because
with that one.
It's more about, like, instead of looking for external validation, look for that internal validation. I went to the gym this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I met at the coffee shop for that meeting. I was 5 minutes early. I'm usually 5 minutes late. Like, give yourself that validity to recognize you're making promises to yourself, you're making goals, and you're checking them off.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need, when you first start going to the gym, you are not going to get, nobody's going to come up to you the first day of the gym and say, I'm so proud of you for being at the gym today. But you will tell yourself that for the first 2 weeks, and then you're really going to start to internally feel the drive, feel the motivation, the fire being lit under your ass.
Mm-hmm.
And then in about 6 months, people are going to be like, dude, you are looking so fucking good. Like, go you. I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? But at the 3-month mark, you noticed those changes. But they're so minuscule that nobody else noticed them. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the external validation comes so far after you start doing your things and holding those promises to yourself and checking off those goals and those boxes that you can't rely on external validation because it's going to take so long to get it that by that point you probably already burned yourself out and you're probably already fucking over it. You know? Same with, like, opening a business. Nobody is going to, when you're building that business, building that brand, nobody is going to look at you and be like, I'm so proud of you for building your brand. This is so cool. While you're, like, actively searching for property, while you're trying to choose a color scheme. It's not until after the grand opening that people are like, this is so cool, I'm so proud of you.
Well, and let's talk about the other part of that, right? Let's talk about when the validation doesn't come from these external people. Let's talk about when, on the contrary,
jealous ass bitch.
Or even if they're just a negative spirits, right? Because, like, when you give someone else the power to determine how you view yourself and how you view your goals, that can be incredibly dangerous and it can hold you back. For an example, when I first wanted to become a tattoo artist when I was 17 years old. Do you know how many people... I was not met with, you can do it, I believe in you, blah, 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 blah. No, I was met with, you're not good enough. You will never be good enough. You will never succeed at this. And I had to internally validate myself and say to myself, in the midst of all of this negativity, no, I know I can do this. I know I can do this. I know I have the talent. I know that I have the drive. I know that I can accomplish this goal. So I didn't allow the validation or lack of validation to determine where my goals were going to be. And it's because, you know, that has to come from within, because you have to be true to yourself and true to your goals, true to where you want to be in life. Because when you give someone else that power, they now are deciding things for you subconsciously, you know?
Right. I feel like it's also, again, that goes back to the previous point that you brought up, where when you give someone else that power, you are taking all of the context of their backstory, where they started and everything. You are forgetting about all of that once again, you know what I mean? And you're forgetting all of the struggles that they're currently going through, which again is a waste of your own time, because you should be spending that time and that energy focused on you. But it is so easy to look at everybody else's highlight reels, because social media makes it like everybody is ahead of you all the time. When in reality, just because somebody's posting a brand new car doesn't mean they could even afford it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they own a home. They may not be as far ahead in their business. They may have had to have one or even two co-signers on that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Where you're in the process of saving up full cash money to outright buy that car. So you don't have to lease it or put a loan on it. So while somebody can post this fucking lamb truck and be like, look at what I got, their mom might have had to co-sign and put a down payment on it, and they're 40-some years old.
Well, like, there's a really famous dude. I don't want to name drop because he's very, very Instagram famous. But I'll give you guys a hint. He constantly is like, in here in my garage with all my books behind me. You know who I'm fucking talking about. He's always popping up.
I don't, so you'll have to tell me later.
Oh my god, really? Anyway, he's a big, like, self-help guru who's constantly flexing that he reads a book a day. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Do you know how long it takes to read a fucking... You'd have to read for at least, like, 4 to 6 hours per day. And I know that your bitch ass isn't doing that. So, anywho'sville. But he was just exposed because he's constantly like, I am this millionaire. Look at all of... He has, like, 6 cars in his garage that he supposedly... Whatever. And there is a very famous influencer who went to his house and was kind of being, like, snooping and found his mail. And he was like, what's this? He goes, oh, that's my bill for the car for the month. And he says, what does LE stand for on this? He goes, oh, that's a lease. And he's like, oh, so these aren't even your cars. You're leasing them. You're literally renting these cars. And you're telling all these people, oh, I'm this multimillionaire who owns all this car. He literally found that this dude rents the mansion that he supposedly lives in.
Yikes.
So all of it is fucking fake. So how could... Imagine you're comparing yourself to this dude. You guys are the same age and you're like, oh my god, you're dogging on yourself because you're not what? Being fake? Putting yourself into debt to make it look like you're a multimillionaire? Like, you know what I mean? So comparing yourself, like I said, you don't know the behind the scenes of anybody else's story because it very well could be fucking fake.
Well, and I feel like that I had such a great train of thought to branch off of that, but it's gone with the wind, bullseye. And honestly, that's okay, because we have a million other topics, and I have a lash appointment to go to. So, with that, before we move on too far from something that doesn't really go hand in hand, every overnight success usually has years of invisible work behind it.
Yeah.
You have and this goes hand in hand again with social media, but also with the, like, don't negate someone else's story. You can't be comparing, because you have no idea where somebody started and how much went into it.
Yeah.
Even the people that are like, yeah, I just randomly decided to put all my eggs in one basket and open my business online, and look, it took off. It didn't just take off, right? Like, you finally took, and I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But there are people that get real freaking lucky and their shit blows up.
But those people are literally like 1 in 10 million.
Yeah.
Right? The majority of the time where you see someone be an overnight success, like even look at famous people, for example. These famous people who are supposedly like an overnight success where all of a sudden they blow up. How many local shows did they do? How many venues did they perform at? Even after they had to do their regular 9 to 5 because they're nobody right now and they had to still pay their bills. And then afterwards, they had to go and do this venue from midnight till 3 a.m., right? You don't see all of that grind. You only see, oh, now all of a sudden they're on the radio. You know?
A lot of these kind of go hand in hand with stuff we've already touched on, just because this topic can go in so many different directions, but they also connect so much. But jealousy often reveals the life you're refusing to build.
Ooh.
And I don't even think it's that the life you're refusing to build, the work you're refusing to put in to have that life.
Yes. Because jealousy is really easy to have, you know what I mean? The hatred for somebody else's success is really easy to have, especially when you don't want to reflect on maybe something that you're not doing.
Well, and everybody wants to be seen as successful, but they don't want to get the success because the success is really fucking hard.
Yeah, everyone wants to be somebody, everyone wants to be successful, but no one's willing to put in the work to do that. And you even said that with my fitness goals, right? Because I had said something, I'm a very instant gratification type person, hence the addiction piece. But I had gone to the gym for about a month, and I wasn't seeing the exact results that I wanted to. I was seeing a little bit, but not the results that I wanted to. And you had said to me, you were like, baby, if all you had to do was go to the gym for a month and have a fucking six-pack, everybody would have that.
We wouldn't have the GLP-1 epidemic that we are currently having in the United States.
If it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. And that's the thing is, like, success requires a certain sacrifice that does suck, right? And you have to embrace the suck. And when you're just sitting there jealous of somebody else's successes, it's because you don't want to embrace the suck. And even if you're sitting there jealous of somebody else, dogging on somebody else, and I don't know, just you have to understand that, like, the person that you're hating on is willing to make the certain sacrifices that should be admirable, you know?
Yeah, you don't get to be jealous of where I'm sitting versus where an influencer is sitting versus where you're sitting versus whatever. When you are negating all of the, like you said, all of the sacrifices that have been made to get here. You don't get to be like, oh, it must be nice. That is literally one of my biggest fucking pet peeves is when somebody's like, must be nice to be able to travel so much. And it is. Yeah. But do you know how much I had to do to be here? Do you know that 3 days after my fucking dad passed away, I was back at work hustling and grinding? Because I got shit to do. Like, and I understand that's not healthy. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay? But I'm just saying, like.
Well, and I feel like that's because success is not deserved, it's earned.
Oh, so right here, validation is a loan. Self-respect is ownership. When somebody gives you validation, they're just lending you a little bit of, like, confidence, a little sprinkle. But when you have self-respect, self-love, self-worth internally, you own that shit. You are fucking owning that shit. Also right here, the person who can quietly work without needing applause is often the one who creates something that is lasting.
Yeah, and that's because you're constantly putting in this consistent work, right? And you don't need that little bit of, like, good job, kiddo, you know?
I actually disgust. Insert cat puke emoji. I do not. I don't know why, but that's, like, one of our stims right now, and she started it, and it's so fucking cute. I love it. I hate getting a round of applause for the most simple thing that I did. Why are you? Yes, but you're a Leo, so I cannot stand. Oh my god, you cooked dinner for Frankie. You're being such a good partner. I had to cook dinner for my damn self. Like, what? Like, when people are like, oh, you guys do a Sunday reset together, that's such a couple's goal. When do you clean your house? Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's just the simplest stuff that it's like I have had clients come to me because their previous lash artist would either book them for an hour long and take over 2 hours, or, oh girl, and cancel on them at the last minute when they're sitting in the parking lot. Just horrendous. Okay. So my clients will literally be like, I love that you're always on time. You're always sticking to your appointment time. Girl, what do you mean? That is the bare necessities.
Yeah, dude.
Bare necessities.
Oh my God.
Because, like, if I start taking double the time on your appointment, I am now a whole client behind because I am booked solid, girl. I ain't got the time. Okay. Of course, I'm going to show up not just on time. You show up and I am already set up, ready to go, ready to take you back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am going to keep you. If you're booked for an hour 15, it is been an hour and 5 minutes. I'm going to start my wrap-up process because I don't wrap up lashes like majority of lash artists on social media. I don't just take your gel pads off and fan you and tell you to have a good day. There's a whole thing that I do because I care about your ocular health and your eyeball health and blah, blah, blah. So...
And me with my sensory issues, I wish she just took the fucking eye patches off and be like, you're
whatever.
done. But no, she's like, oh,
I care about your eyeballs.
Let me put oil and shit on
I don't put oil on your eyeballs.
Pardon me, pardon my terminology, but I don't know what the fuck she be doing, but like at the end of my last session, I'm like, stop touching me. Anyway.
But because of that, and then having to check you out, double check how far out we have you booked, do we need to add more appointments to this, yada, 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 I give us a 10-minute buffer at the end. And then my next client, I will be ready to take her. Okay? Like, I don't have time to run behind. Okay? So, like, to me, that's a bare necessity. Like, that's easy. Your future isn't built by watching winners. It's built by doing the work they had to do when nobody was watching. So that goes hand in hand with, like, the silent work.
Yeah.
I don't need a win. I don't need a big old clap on the back.
Yeah.
Because I just did something in silence, some bare necessity shit to get to where I want to go.
Yeah. Because ultimately, it's in those quiet moments that are going to determine your future, right? It's in the moments that nobody else is going to see that is going to determine whether or not you meet your goals. And there's not going to be someone who is sitting there clapping for you that you woke up early and went to the gym. But you can do that for yourself, right? And you should be doing that for yourself because that's going to continue that motivation, because ultimately motivation will take you far further, or excuse me, discipline will take you far further than any motivation ever could.
Right. Just skimming through our last few because I gotta get to getting in the next like 10 minutes. I really like right here where we put the opposite of comparison isn't arrogance, is presence. Which again flows very nicely with everything else we've kind of touched on.
Yeah.
Staying present in your own vehicle, stay in your own car. It's not about, oh, I'm better than them, I don't need to compare myself to them. Because that is the flip side. You don't always have to compare yourself to somebody in your less than. It can be that you are comparing yourself to other people so that you are better than them and you're dogging on those other people. We're not doing that here, honey. We're not doing that here, sister. We are staying present in what we are accomplishing and what we are getting done.
And you're appreciating where you are at and what you have, because the universe isn't going to give you your next level up until you can appreciate and sit with where you're at and be grateful for what you have.
Yeah. And keep in mind that, like, your values should be internal. They should not be coming from social media algorithms, the people around you. They should not be coming from... They need to come from internal. And that's another part of, like, figuring out your goals and figuring out where you're at versus where you need to be, where you want to go, and how to get there. It's figuring out what your values are. Almost like when you open a business, they're like, what's your mission statement, right? You kind of have to figure out, like, what's important to you and what means a lot to you, and what you're willing to sacrifice versus what you're not on a values level. There is freedom in realizing you'll never control what people think of you, only whether you betray yourself trying to change it. And that's why I mentioned your values, because there has to be a point where you're like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, after you've gotten out of a toxic relationship and you're like, no, I refuse to go through that shit again. I will never let you do A, B, or C like I've had in my past relationship. That's something that we both had to say when we got together.
Yeah.
It's like, hey.
There's certain, like, boundaries that we're not going to cross.
People will call me a ride or die because my loyalty, I thought about getting loyalty tattooed right here because my loyalty is my Achilles, bitch. It will take me out. But there are literal 3 fucking things you will not do to me. I'll fucking leave your ass where the fuck you stand. Because absolutely not. Because I've been through enough shit with friends, with partners, with my ex-wife, with my fucking parents, with whoever, where I'm not doing it, girl. You will not put me in a position where I am thinking less of myself, dogging on myself, losing my self-worth and my self-value. I will never do that again. And the same has to go with you're confident, that's where a lot of confidence comes from.
Yeah.
Is setting fucking boundaries. That's going to be our next podcast episode.
Is setting boundaries. But for real, though, you have to be true enough to yourself and loyal enough to yourself to be able to validate, I'm where I'm at, I'm working on my goals, and I am doing fantastic with the tools that I have, right? Other people have different tools in their toolbox, and that's none of your business. What's your business is what you have to work with, right? So, you know, don't be judging other people based on what you don't even see that they have as far as tools and assets and things, because you have what you have for a reason, and what you have is a blessing, and you need to value what you have.
Yeah. This is just a statement. This isn't really a question or anything that we have to touch too much on, but a fulfilled person rarely needs to prove that they are fulfilled. Ooh. If you're in a healthy relationship, you don't have to prove to other people that your relationship is healthy. You just exist, and people will just see it. We all have had that friend, or we've been that friend. You've said too many things, they've said too many things, and now people are starting to see what's really going on behind closed doors. And now every time they talk to you, it's something great and grand and fantastic about their partner, because they're trying to cover up and make it seem like they're in a healthy relationship. We've all been around the person who is consistently talking about their finances in a positive way, because now they want to flex like they got it. The person who is consistently doing that, we never talk about our finances. Not with other people. No. That together, yes, you have to as a relationship. If you don't, that's a conversation you have to have between you and yourself before you can have it with your partner. And people always are like, well, it must be fucking nice. Oh, well, if I had a job like you. Well, if I was a successful business owner. Like, people constantly are like saying random, and of course, it's the people that lack that confidence. They need this episode a lot, because if you're ever going to look at us or anyone else and be like, well, you have a lot of money, you don't have a fucking clue.
Yeah, I get really irritated with people who are like, it must be nice. Like, what the fuck do you mean it must be nice? It must be nice having to battle addiction and come out the other side and then now be, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, it must be nice. Like,
it must be really nice.
You don't want this story? Like, what the fuck? I'm dealing with my own stuff. You know what I mean?
I'm so inspired. I'm so jealous. I can't believe. You're jealous of what, girl? You know what I had to go through to be here?
Yeah.
Like, you don't, and that's why you're jealous. That's why you're so quick to say, like, God, I've also heard, like, oh, must be nice to be in a relationship where you guys can split everything. Actually, it is, because I've been in plenty of relationships where I picked up every single fucking crumb, every fucking penny off the fucking table, and covered everything. So yeah, it's really nice to have a partner who is actually equally yoked to me. Thanks for recognizing that. But don't you ever fucking throw what I have or where I'm at or what I've got going on in my face. Don't you ever do that. That's a one-way ticket out the door.
That's ugly.
Ugly, girl. That's ugly. And there is nothing worse than being internally ugly. Go work on that shit.
Go work on that.
We got 2 more points, so we're just going to hit them both. And the first one is, every time you compare yourself, ask, is this helping me become who I want to be, or is it just feeding my ego?
Whew. Yeah, for real. Is what you're thinking about yourself and comparing yourself to other people constructive and helping you move forward and helping you learn? Or is it just making you feel a little bit better because maybe you're not as bad off? And I'm a victim to that too, because I did that a lot with my addiction. I constantly use that with my addiction of, well, I'm not as bad as so and so. I'm not homeless in my addiction, so I'm a better at it, you know? But like, how is that helping?
Comparison building your confidence in a positive light or in a negative light? And I feel like that's a question that could be asked in any topic. Is this giving me positive or is this giving me negative reinforcement? Is this giving me positive or is this giving me negative influence, right? You can compare yourself to people if it's going to build you up while not tearing someone else down. I am a firm believer. I don't give a shit what you believe in, who you love, who you hate. Well, not, I might care about who you hate. I don't care about what the hell it is you're doing in your life if it's not hurting someone else, if it's not tearing someone else down. I don't care what you say, what religion you believe in. I don't care what political party you're a part. I don't care about none of that as long as you're not using it to tear someone else down. Mm-hmm. I do not care. It does not affect me until you start hurting the people that I love because of whatever your belief system is or whatever you're thinking. Mm-hmm. So just don't be a shitty person.
Yeah.
Your confidence will increase tenfold when you are not continuously tearing other people down. Mm-hmm. Because the more people that you lift up, that makes you feel fucking good.
Yeah.
And then people are going to be like, oh yeah, when I was in this position, I went to Becca and I asked her for da-da-da-da, and she really helped me out. And so then that person is also then going to be sending basically referrals to you. You're just about to be like the godfather of helping people, and that's going to build your confidence. Mm-hmm. So don't be out here tearing people down because that's ugly internally. Mm-hmm. And honestly, working on your ugliness inside is way harder than working on any ugliness that you feel like you have on the outside.
100%.
Because any ugliness that you have on the inside, you probably think is normal and you can't recognize it, where at least you have a mirror. Like, if there's something you don't like about yourself, you can go to the gym or you can get like a boob job or a nose job or whatever. But like, if you're ugly on the inside, the only way to know that is somebody's going to tell you, and then you're probably going to flip the script and be like, I'm actually not that bad. She's just a bitch. So anyways, the final topic before I have to get out of my jammy bottoms and run the fuck out of here, sorry, Ezzy, is at the end of your life, you won't regret not having someone else's story. You'll regret not fully living your own.
Oh my God. Mic drop moment.
You needed that.
Mic drop moment.
You can sit there and be so envious of my automatic thought is travel. You can sit there and you can envy Tom, Dick, and Jerry for all the places they've traveled in the world. But if all you do is you sit there and you're envious of their plane tickets that they've purchased, and you don't just get the fuck up and purchase your own plane ticket, you're going to continuously be jealous of their life instead of enjoying the fact that you have passport stamps.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like even just right now, I'm getting a little like in my fifis because, you know, there was a point.
She just learned what fifis are, so.
There was a. I'm not a psychopath. I have feelings.
No, you. But the phrase "in my fifis."
Oh yeah, I'm getting hip with you kids.
Yeah, now one of her new things to say is "love you down bad." She says that to me all the fucking time now because me and my best friend KK will be like, "I love you down so bad, bitch." Like, yeah, so like, now she picks up.
But anyways, you know, there was a point where I literally, you know, I would think to myself when I was in active addiction how much I was going to, when I was an old lady, I was going to regret and wish that I was able to handle this life sober, you know? So, you know, I'm having a moment in real time of like having that confidence in my story because I get that now. I get to have a life sober now. And there was a point where I was worried that at the end of my life, I would regret how much time, money, and effort I wasted on, you know, just using and not being present, you know? And so I like to try to live a lot of my life, like, based on that, as far as, you know, I don't want to regret X, Y, and Z. I don't want to regret not having a good relationship, good health, you know? So I feel like that really hits with me, you know?
My problem is I view life as too short. And you never know when your last day is. And so I try and get everything done all the time, back to back, fucking never stop living life. Like, I am just fucking psycho, okay? And like, to the point that one of my best friends literally was like, I don't know, it's a lot of money, I shouldn't go on this trip. But it was like her favorite sports team. It was like a big playoff moment. I don't fucking know, whatever. And she literally said, what would Rebecca do right now? She bought the plane ticket, bought the game ticket. The game ticket was like $500 and some. So it cost more to get into the game than it cost her to get down to Miami and back. So, but she was like, what would Rebecca do? And that right there, I was like, I'm going to keep doing this crazy shit. Because the fact that I can inspire somebody to say fuck it go out of town for the weekend and do this once in a lifetime opportunity game, fucking go, girl. Like, hell yeah. Because if me living my life as crazy and as fully as I want to, because I don't want to be 80 years old going, God, I wish we would have done that. Anytime we are on the road for a road trip or we're in the airport, I will call my grandma and I'll be like, yeah, grandma, we're headed here. The first thing out of my grandma's mouth, oh my God, you're never home. Second thing out of my grandma's mouth is, do it while you can, baby girl. Because my grandma is my biggest support system, especially after my dad passed away. My grandma loves to hear what we're doing. She loves to live vicariously through us. But at the same time, my grandma is going, like, because of that, not at the same time, my grandma is going to be like, do it now. Like, I'm so proud of you for everything you're getting done. I'm so proud of you for just chasing your dreams and living your life, because life is too short. And at some point, I mean, my grandma is literally living in a nursing home because my grandpa needs assisted living at this point. My grandma can't be the one who is at 2:00 in the morning is picking him up because he had a fall. She can't do that. So because of this, she's literally like, and of course, one of her sons passed away, and at the ripe old age of 45, 48, however old he was. So like, she understands my desire to just chase life and live life to the fullest, because at some point I'm going to be like, damn, I wish we would have done more. And I do a lot, and I'm probably still going to be like, damn, I wish we did more. But that's just because I'm crazy. So, because we always have something going on. We are literally on a trip planning the next trip. And I literally said to her when we were in Paris, I was like, we're not doing this.
We're being mindful.
We're going to be mindful. We're going to pay attention to this trip. We're not going to do that. We're not going to talk about our next trip. But as soon as we got back, we were talking about our next trip. Like,
so to wrap up, I feel like the best way to have self-confidence and to not compare yourself to others is to appreciate where you're at right now. To appreciate the fact that you are trying to achieve your goals, and you're using the tools that you were given, and just focus on your own homework. You know what I mean? Because if you cheat on somebody else, you don't know if they're going to get the right answers. You don't even know if y'all are fail. You don't even know if they're taking the same test as you. Right? So, like, what's the point of copying someone else's answers when it's a different worksheet?
And at the end of the day, the teacher knows whose answers were authentic. So, keep that in mind. Like, the more that you take from other people, the less authentic you're being to your true self. The universe knows that. The universe feels that. She picks up on that energy. There is a plan put in place for you. You can't do what other people are doing. You can't do that. And that's something that we've kind of talked about in our previous episodes, is despite the fact that our industries are very saturated, we have our clients because of how we are as individuals, who we are as people. People will come back to us. So that inherently kind of goes as an analogy for the universe also sees you for who you are and where you're supposed to be, and you have your own story coming to you because of who you are.
Absolutely.
So quit looking over your shoulder at everybody else's shit. Quit turning and looking behind you. Quit looking in the rearview mirror, because what's done is done. The past is the past, and nobody else. You are you.
Yep.
Just stay
and you
true
don't
to you.
need validation in order to achieve your goals.
Validation is borrowed.
Validate yourself, because ultimately your opinion on yourself is the only one that matters at the end of the day. So
the only person you should be trying to show out for is yourself and your younger version of you.
Absolutely.
So with that, I'm going to go change out of my pajama bottoms.
I love how we said that we're going to keep it short, and it's still like an hour long. So thanks for listening, you guys.
Oopsie. You guys love listening to us. That's why you're here. Anyways, we love you. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye, baddies.
Adios, guys.